Hey YouTube, what's going on? Clint Crawford here, Crawdaddy Catfishing. Spent a couple hours today catching chubs. I brought them home, put them in my tank. Figured I'd do a little video on some of the bait tanks and coolers that I use and how I made them. Most of mine are fairly cheap, pretty easy to make and to find the parts to do it. When I'm catching bait, I will typically just put them in a 5-gallon bucket with a little hush bubbler. I use just these. In the summer when it's hot, you need something like this. Change your water if it's getting too warm. In the winter and the colder months, you really don't need it. The bait should be fine just with the colder temperatures on the water. This particular tank here is just a small little 12-quart igloo cooler. Just running a bubbler with a little air hose. This is for when I'm going on a quick bank fishing trip by myself here locally, or if I don't have very many baits. I can keep a dozen baits in here pretty easily, which is usually plenty for me. Just run it on a little hush bubbler here, and it's got a little extra slot here for extra hooks and worms, whatever I'm using to catch bait. Hooks onto here in the front whenever I'm carrying it around, so it's a pretty convenient little cooler. Similar style hush bubbler. Just a 20-quart cooler, I think, 30. Can keep quite a few baits in this pretty easily. The only downfall to these hush bubblers is you have to replace the batteries fairly often. It can get expensive over time. This is a little bit different style. It's just got a bilge pump with a line that has some holes in the end. It sprinkles down. I think I got this cooler for $15–20. I paid $20 for the bilge pump with the airline, so that's a pretty cheap, pretty effective bait tank. I'll run it here and show you what it does. This particular tank just runs on a 12-volt battery. This tank here is actually a Keep Alive bait tank that I was given as a gift, I think 7–8 years ago now. So it's just got a bilge pump in the bottom with a big foam filter and an air line coming from the top. It runs on a 12-volt deep cycle battery as well. I have a bigger Power Bubbles here. This is actually a 2-line. It's going to go in 150-quart or maybe 180-quart cooler as a live bait well for my boat. Then I've got my big tank, which I've just put some more chubs in. I actually bought this 200-gallon tank from a buddy of mine here locally. He put a light in it, a lid on it. It's got 2 bubblers that run on just like an aquarium pump. It also has like a fountain style of a pump that runs up to a filter that drips back down. I've had some of these chubs in here for 2 to 3 weeks already. No food. It's gotten down to 15 degrees a couple of nights in a row. We've had several inches of snow a couple of times, and this tank has been just fine in here. And the chubs seem to like the cold water. So anyways, that's my bait tank collection. Hope this gives you guys some good ideas on how to make your own tanks without spending $300 or $400 like some of the tanks cost. You can save a lot of money by catching your own bait instead of buying bait from bait shops. I enjoy it. I find it fun. Usually it doesn't take me very long, and if you get a big enough tank set up, you can stockpile bait for a couple of weeks at a time. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. Stay tuned. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be doing several segments on different bait species, how to locate them, what to use to catch them.